duelists in its eye hell gear, and finally, after accruing all of the cards and getting the testing to how I like, upgrading and updating the Crystal Beast deck profile. The sad part about it is the structure deck has been pushed back to September, so we have to wait a little bit longer to get the real upgrades to this deck. But I wanted to give you guys the build I'm playing with until the fall. So, as always, like, sub, and bell, and let's count the cards. So, to those of you who don't know, Crystal Beasts, lovely stuff here. So we'll begin with Sapphire Pegasus himself. To those of you who don't know, the Crystal Beasts all share a similar effect, that if these face-up cards would be destroyed, they can be placed in the back row as face-up continuous spells instead of being sent to the graveyard. And they each have their own unique effects. On summon, Sapphire Pegasus places a Crystal Beast from hand, deck, or graveyard face up in the back row. I still like playing this at 2. 2 gets me where I need to go. Next up, 2 copies of the honorary Crystal Beast, Noble Knight Shield Bearer. It has 2 once per turn effects. The second effect you don't really care too much about. Well, the first effect you don't really care too much about, which is on summon, you can banish a light monster from your graveyard to draw a card. You're not going to use that effect. The effect that you're going to use is the second one. Banishing this card from your hand or face-up field to add a level 6 or lower wind attribute beast monster from deck to hand. It essentially is the personal rota to your Sapphire Pegasus. Each effect, of course, once per turn. Finally, we have the real meat and potatoes. It took 2.5 years, but Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon is here. If an attack is declared involving a Crystal Beast monster you control, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can also banish this face-up spell to special summon a level 4 or lower Crystal Beast monster from your deck with its effect negated, and if you do, add an ultimate crystal monster from deck to your hand. Those 2 effects are once per turn. The fact that this is a personal search for an ultimate crystal monster makes getting the Rainbow Dragon out a lot easier. And it leads me to the question of the video. I had to sip my water there. As you know, all the Crystal Beasts are gems. What gemstone do you think Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon is? Let me know in the comments section below. Next up, 2 Ruby Carbuncle. On special summon, he acts as a soul charge for as many Crystal Beasts in the back row as possible. This is the guy who brings the noise. 2 Topaz Tiger. When you swing at an opponent, its 1600 attack become 2000 at the damage step. This is only when you swing at the opponent, not when the opponent swings at you. 2 copies of Cobalt Eagle. Real talk, the only reason why we play Cobalt Eagle in Crystal Beast decks is because of the Wing Beast tech options. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who cites Harpy's Featherstorm in this deck, right? Right? We're not using the once per turn bounce of a Crystal Beast from the field to the top of the deck. Now, These next cards you're probably going to end up cutting, moving forward after the structure deck. Down to one. And that is Emerald Tortoise, Amethyst Cat, or, like you've done what I've done, one copy of Amber Mammoth. So, Emerald Tortoise still has the 2 racks in the back. And when a Crystal Beast attacks this turn, one can switch to defense position. There's a trap card that makes you good. Amethyst Cat can bypass your opponent's monsters and attack directly, but the damage dealt is halved. And while Amber Mammoth is on the field, your opponent cannot destroy any Crystal Beasts in battle before they take out that one. So of course, you're going to have the good field day there. This is there. You'll probably reduce the levels of Amethyst and Emerald to 1 come the fall when we get the new structured deck. That's all on you. When 7 of these 8 Crystal Beasts hit the field or are in your graveyard, you can bring out the ace of the deck, the Rainbow Dragon, which I play at 2. And the turn after it was summoned, you can activate its effects. The quick effect to send Crystal Beasts you control to the graveyard to give it 1,000 attack for each one sent, or the banishing of the Crystal Beasts in your grave to reset the field. And then of course we have the one E-Hero Neos, because we know what's in the extra deck. That wraps up the monsters. Spell game. 2 copies of Advanced Dark. As you guys have probably heard and seen my video of the Advanced Crystal Beasts, they need this field spell. So get used to playing with it when we get the Advanced Crystal Beasts come November in Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge. It has 3 effects. 1, it makes all Crystal Beasts on the field Dark attribute. 2, if an Ultimate Crystal monster battles an opponent's monster, the opponent's monster's effects are negated during that battle phase. And 3, if a Crystal Beast you control battles and you would take damage, Foolish Burial 1 to the graveyard to block damage. Damage. Rainbow Bridge! Finally found that 3rd copy. It's up to 3. It adds any crystal spell or trap from your deck to your hand, not once per turn. So you can add your copies of, say, Crystal Bond, which is still a 2 of, and it is one of the deck's oats. You take 2 Crystal Beasts with different names. 1 goes to your hand, 1 goes face up in the back row as a continuous spell. Remember folks, oat stands for 1 activation a turn, and it combos well with your copy of Crystal Tree. When a Crystal Beast is placed face up in the back row, you put a counter on this card. Excuse me while I take a sip again of my water. You can send this face up card to the graveyard, and for every counter it had on it, you can place a Crystal Beast face up in your back row as a continuous spell. Setup is a very important part of this deck, especially with some of the newer support that comes out later. Blessing also helps you with setup, taking up to 2 Crystal Beasts in your graveyard and placing them in your back row. Wait. Where are my beacons? Oh, excuse me, is 1 Crystal Blessing. My bad. 1 Crystal Beacon. Okay, so let's talk about this for a moment. If you have 2 crystal beasts in your back row, at least, you can special summon one from the from the deck. Now, I personally think that the diamond that you see in both Crystal Beacon and Crystal Blessing is actually Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon there all along, just locked away. There we go. This one was up to 2. And that is Crystal Promise. This is probably going to be the last deck profile where I use Crystal Promise. So this is a swan song for it. It special summons a Crystal Beast from your back row. And it's got the ruby on it for a reason. This might even be the last time I use Crystal Blessing. We know what these 2 cards do. They are the usual suspects. And the fusion engine going into the trap game. People still ask me why I play Future Fusion in this deck, and I'm going to tell you why as soon as the deck profile is over in more detail. But what you should know is that it is a faster version of the trap, Ultimate Crystal Magic. We know what Neos Fusion is doing in here. We know what's in the extra deck. The main form of fusion is with Ultimate Crystal Magic, but you have to wait for a Crystal Beast to fall in battle in order to send 7 of them from hand, deck, or field to grave to fusion summon the big baddie that is currently in our decks. And then if said Ultimate Crystal leaves the field, you can banish this card and restack your back row. 1 Crystal Raigeki, because we still need an out to Mystic Mine. This is probably going to be the last deck profile where I display Crystal Raigeki. Another swan song. Just offer up a Crystal Beast in the back row to clap a card. And of course the Conclave, whose effects you can't use in the same chain. If a Crystal Beast is destroyed, special summon one from the deck. Or, in a different chain, you can send this card to the graveyard to bounce 1 Crystal Beast card you control and a card your opponent controls to the hand. So it's spot removal. And lastly, the other oh shit button for this deck, Tri-Brigade Revolt. Remember, Rainbow Dragon, Ruby Carbuncle, and Emerald Tortoise are not beast variant Crystal Beasts. So you can use them with this card. Alright y'all, extra deck time. And you know we got to start the extra deck with the obvious suspect. And that is 2 copies of upgraded Rainbow Dragon. You need 7 Crystal Beast monsters. They don't have to have different names. And unlike the main deck one, you can use both of this guy's effects in the same turn. Banishing a Crystal Beast you control, boosting this monster's attack by the attack of the Crystal Beast for the turn. And of course the quick effect, reset the field by tributing this fusion summon card. So, I say it like that because it works differently than how you'd expect. If you don't fusion summon into this using your Rainbow Dragon, because you can use the Rainbow Dragon on your field, tribute it, and then contact fusion summon into this, but you don't get the resetting effect. You saw Neos, you know Rainbow Neos is here. It has 3 once per turn effects. Tribute a monster you control, shuffle your opponent's monsters into the deck. Tribute a spell or trap you control, shuffle your opponent's back row into the deck. Send the top cards off of your deck to the graveyard, shuffle your opponent's graveyard into the deck. You will never use that third effect, but the first two effects you will be using a lot. 1 PK break sword, because tributing a crystal beast in the back row to blast an opponent's card means this can swing at 2,000. Exciton Knight, because we don't need Zeus. Exciton Knight, because we don't need Zeus. Dark Rebellion Exceeds Dragon, so we can steal the special summon monster's attack, half of it, and boost itself up by that. Douglas the Timeless! Get this card if you don't have it. It is an extender. Detach 2 materials from this card and activate one of these effects. You either skip your next draw phase, draw 2 cards, and discard 1. Let me actually pick this up, because, yeah. Alright, 1. Skip your next main phase, special summon a monster from your graveyard in defense, or skip your next battle phase, and then double the attack of a monster you control for the turn. You can only activate one of these effects per turn. Heartland Draco, because when you have a spell on your field, it cannot be targeted for an attack. Detach a material from this card. It's the only card that can attack this turn, but it can attack your opponent directly. It is my better option for the deck than Baguska. Silent Honor Arc will probably be the last time I play it in this deck, mainly because it does a similar purpose as Dark Rebellion Exceeds Dragon. Small Nightmare Engine, going in like that. 1 Saryuja. I'm still debating what to replace this with. I'll figure it out by by September. And then, of course, because you saw Tri-Brigade Revolt, we got the Tri-Brigade engine right here of Ferjeet, Rugal, the Silver Sheller, and Shirag, the Ominous Omen. That gets you that extra special summon to draw a card with Ferjeet, the nerf and protection with Rugal, and banishing a card your opponent controls, which, unlike Crystal Conclave, this is non-targeted spot removal. Doesn't matter where I go or who I play, the biggest debate is between Future Fusion and Trap Fusion. And it is as simple as this. You need a Crystal Beast to die in order to trigger the fusion properties of the trap. But if you play the continuous spell with your opponent, and your opponent decides to let it go, you pick up your deck. You put that in the graveyard, this in the graveyard, this in the graveyard. This in the graveyard, this in the graveyard, this in the graveyard. That in the graveyard. Any 7 of your Crystal Beasts into the graveyard, and you pull this out in 1 turn. Now, when we get the new stuff, you contribute this, go to the graveyard. Oop, wrong one. Where is my yes, you? And pull that out on contact. And because you summoned an ultimate crystal monster, and the turn, you can banish your 7 Crystal Beasts and your ultimate crystal monster and go into the new fusion Rainbow Dragon Overdrive, which we'll be getting in the structure deck. And you've got an 11 rack beatdown that you're looking at your opponent and saying, give me a reason. Crystal Beasts content is going to be getting some more things on the way. Hey, just with the structure deck, because I plan on doing the sweet budget challenge with this deck. I plan on doing an upgraded deck profile, and then come November, there will also be an advanced Crystal Beast deck profile. So there's at least 3 more Crystal Beast videos coming down the pipe. So be sure to like, sub, and bell come the fall when all of this content hits the channel. But for now, I take my cards to the box because I'm done. And I love these sleeves. Bye-bye, everybody.